In a world without heroes, there'd be nowhere to go and no way to get there. No one to look up to, and nowhere left to turn. But in a world hungry for heroes, you'll find them all around us. The heroes of public service. Hard-working heroes who pave our way, who teach us right from wrong, give us the freedom to play, and protect us each and every day. This is for the heroes of public service who make an extraordinary difference in our everyday lives.
Power and the public service. As the subject of power has been debated throughout history, notions of the role and rightness of power have evolved and changed. Power alone without moral purpose and reasoned values will not satisfy the need for compelling and creative leadership. In short, whereas power can be explored empirically and debated pragmatically, it appropriately remains a philosophical and moral issue as well. Public leadership can involve the exercise of power, but it must be used appropriately and legitimately in reference to some larger set of value and purposes. Power is pervasive and multifaceted. Effective and appropriate public service involve the use of power, but it must be a legitimate use. Power must be legitimated through reference to external standards, norms, and values before its use can be considered to be a dimension of public service and leadership. Because power can take so many forms and because its use by public servants can profoundly influence the meaning of law, justice, and governance in everyday life, it is important to focus on the legitimacy of its use in the context. 8 different ways of acting power and public service. Enhance your personal power by considering all of its possible resources. Just not because you lack the title of a person in authority does not mean that you do not need or cannot gain power and influence. Anything that makes people more dependent on you or that makes you less dependent on them increases your capacity to influence people. Such dependencies can be highly positive for both parties and the organization. Even if you are in a position of authority, relying solely on position power is not advisable. To get things done in an organization, you need to be able to engender cooperation, persuade others, and negotiate solutions to problems. These are political skills that are needed at all levels of organization, regardless of position. Power is derived from many sources. Expertise. You are knowledgeable of something that others not familiar with. Admiration and respect for others. Maybe you are famous, a professional, a public figure, or you're good at sports, or you're an artist. Doing things for other people. You're lending a helping hand without asking something in return. You can gain respect from other people. Or giving rewards and recognition. Simply by appreciating the hard work or little improvement of your employees, recognize their effort can make a difference in their life. Make yourself visible and indispensable. Remember that being highly skilled and competent in your job and taking on responsibilities that are critical to your unit make for a positive political strategy. If people at work learn that you are knowledgeable about and skilled in matters that are critical to your organization's success, then they are more likely to listen to you and be influenced by you. This suggests that on visible assignments, speaking at meetings, and being clear and accurate about your contributions to the key projects not only can help you career-wise but also can help you to become more influential in your present position. Take charge of your own empowerment. Claiming to be powerless sometimes is an excuse for not taking responsibility. And that really happens even as teachers. Instead, let's take responsibility that are not familiar with us and do our best to work for it. In the end, we have learned something new. You can empower yourself to be creative, be committed to an organizational goals, and shoulder the responsibility for consequences. Doing so requires that you ask yourself how you can take initiative and responsibility when confronted with problems. For example, when you encounter a difficulty or problem, do not simply take it to your supervisor for his or her resolution. Instead, take responsibility for formulating some potential strategies for solution. When you see your supervisor, explain the problem, briefly describe the alternative solution, and recommend the one you judge to be the best. Or, if you have the authority to act, simply solve the problem. Use power constructively and effectively. Remember that not all sources of power and political strategies are created equal in terms of their effect on individuals and the organization. Leadership at all levels of the organization should be fundamentally based on respecting the dignity and worth of people, a commitment to an organizational goals, and an ethic of public service. When you acquire power and use it to serve your own needs and agendas, or simply for the thrill of feelings as though you are in control, you are not using power constructively. Doing so is destructive to the organization, the people you interact with, and ultimately yourself. Devote time and energy to clarifying goals. Political behavior occurs because different people have different goals. People try to gain power and use their influence to have their goals take precedence over competing goals. This can be ambiguous and sometimes conflicting. Remember that political behavior is most likely to occur when goals are unclear and resources are scarce. These conditions are common in the public sector. Support and foster the empowerment of others. Empowerment is principally something you can do for yourself. There are several things that management and the organization can do to foster people's willingness to empower others. By providing opportunities to become involved in decision making, showing respect, giving trust, and allowing people to grow. You can enhance people's development and reward their efforts in taking responsibility. Equally important to this step is how you treat mistakes and failure. Think about, plan for, and maintain your awareness of political issues in management and the implementation process. Being successful in organization is not always being right. Effective public service is accomplished through the dedication, hard work, and cooperation of people. It is a difficult thing to accept sometimes that your perception of what is right is not going to be the same as everyone else. So, the idea that effective organizational politics is about forcing others to conform and bend to your will is both ineffective and inconsistent with the values of the public service. Democratic values demand that you allow people voices and perspective to be heard, and that public interest values be paramount. Employees not only must understand but also internalize public service values and support organizational goals if they are more to be effective in accomplishing public purposes. This cannot be accomplished by coercing or over-controlling people, nor can it be accomplished by naked power plays that undermine trust. Consulting others, building alliances, persuading others to accomplish your objectives. Put simply, you not only need power to get things done, but you must also devote the time and energy to use that power and influence in an appropriate and timely fashion. Whenever possible, be nice. This final way of acting flows from everything else we have discussed. Being nice is not about being mealy-mouthed, weak, or ineffectual. In fact, when we talk about being nice, we are trying to reinforce the idea that being kind, considerate, and respectful toward others build mutual trust and respect. It enhances your influence, power, and persuasiveness. It helps you to accomplish your objectives. It fosters the empowerment of others and makes organizational life a more pleasant experience for everyone involved. Being nice is not only a good and the right thing to do for its own sake, but also is a good political strategy. To sum up my topic about power in the public service, here is a quote from Ronald Reagan. Public servant says, always with the best of intentions. What greater service we could render if only we had a little more money and a little more power. But the truth is that outside of its legitimate function, government does nothing as well or as economically as the private sector. Thank you everyone from listening. I am Love and Faith Sayaan from Group 8. I'm gonna play a video clip to sum up our report. Again, thank you very much.